Casey's like, talk to me, talk to me, talk to me, baby.
That's the line.
That is Jodeci. Yo, Stacy, talk to me, talk to me, talk to me, baby. That's Jodeci.
30 years later, and you deliver that line the exact same way you did 30 years ago.
I'm all grown up.
Our guest today is an actor, voice actor, director, writer, producer, poet, harmonica player, and podcaster. Hey. You may recognize him as the lost boy who assumed command after Peter Pan left, as a Fire Lord who ruled with unquestionable honor, or as a human dragon hybrid skateboarder. If you were on the streets of San Francisco during the 80s, you may have seen him breakdancing with his crew, the Street Freaks. At 15 years old, he scared Steven Spielberg. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dante Basco.
What's going on? I love that intro, Tenn. You digging deep in the crates on that. I love that.
I try, man. I try. How you doing today, brother?
I'm doing great, man. It's great to see you. It's good to see you. I saw you as you were doing stuff with us for Braving the Elements, so it's great to come on your show and just vibe out.
I know, man. Well, thank you for being here, man. I have so much I want to talk to you about, so I'm gonna hop in with this question right here. Speaking of the content that we were creating together, you and Janet Varney exist together in two fictional universes. Do you know the other one?
No.
It's
two?
It's Entourage.
Oh, she was on Entourage too?
She was on Entourage. Yes.
That's right. What did she do? She did mention that one day.
She was on season 5. I think on season 4 and 5, she played a television network executive that was like responsible for greenlighting a show that E was shopping for his new client, I think, which was played by Bow Wow.
Okay. Well, great. I mean, I love Entourage. I love that show. It was such a hot show back in the day. It's like one of the things I haven't thought about. People don't think about in a while, but
yeah,
Entourage was hot, man. Entourage was a hot show. Everyone wanted to be on that show.
Let's talk about the Fukijamas for a second, man. Fukijama was such a cool role for you to play because you're a sneakerhead in real life, correct?
Yeah, no doubt. Definitely. I mean, it goes up and down. I mean, I'm not as good at my sneakers today as I was growing up, but a lot of us. But again, I love sneakers and sneaker culture, hip hop culture, always street fashion. I'm into it.
It's an expensive habit, though. It's
an expensive habit. What are you? Are you a Jordans guy? Are you J's? Are you? I'm an Air Max dude.
Are you? Okay, yeah. I'm a J's and Air Force One guy.
The Fukijamas are Air Force Ones. I've always been an Air Max guy, like from Air Max 1 to the 90s to all of them. So I'm but I appreciate all the Nike stuff for sure.
The main question is, did you walk off set with a pair of Fukijamas?
There is a story behind that, and it's been a bunch of years now. I never walked off the set with it. However, I guess they gave the 4 main characters some Fukijamas.
Yes.
And what happened was this. There's it's all this story behind what happened. But there's a picture of me online with some Fukijamas, and they sold them. But what the reality was Kevin Dillon, who's a homie, he owned a duplex where he lived on top with his wife, and my older brother Derek lived on the bottom.
Get out of here.
Yeah, and so they were friends, and Kevin, his wife is Filipino, and so we're all like cool, and they would even come down. We do karaoke and everything, like family nights and stuff. So we were homies for years. I guess a few years after the show was done, or near the end, they were cleaning out the garage, my brother and Kevin, because Kevin's gonna move or something like that, and they found these Fukijamas.
Was it the golds or the powder blues?
It was gold. It was golds.
Wow.
The golds. They're so crazy. Kevin was like, I don't know what to do with it. This is what my brother told me. He's like, why don't you just sell it, pay the rent? Because he's paying, he's a tenant of Kevin's.
Yeah.
And so my brother called me over, and we were like, all right, I took a picture with it because I'm Fukijama. I signed the box, and then there was this another sneaker dealer that got involved that was more like in the underground sneaker scene.
Okay.
And so I don't know what happened. They sold it. I think it sold for like
$88,000 about.
Really?
Yeah, if you're talking about the same pair, in 2021, a pair online was reported selling on Sotheby's for about $88K.
Okay, something sold. No, it was before that one. It might be the same pair. It might have been the second time because we sold it. I think it was like 20 or something like that.
Okay.
Not even on Sotheby's. It was like on a
like real low key
eBay or something crazy, or some sneakerhead app. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Anyhow, HBO called me up. HBO called my manager, was like, what's Dante doing? What's happening? And we were like, what? I was like, talk to Kevin. I just signed it and took the picture. I have nothing to do with this whole thing. I want to be in your good graces, HBO. I'm not trying to mess up. But I guess it all worked out. I don't know what happened, but yeah, they got sold for a good amount of money, and it wasn't me. It was Johnny Drama with that Johnny Drama,
I think we just added a very significant piece to the Fukijama lore, because on the internet, there's a lot about it. No one really has that tidbit of information, so I'm happy we talked about it.
Yeah. No, actually, a company reached out to me around that time. They wanted to do a Fukijama line of like t-shirts and like street fashion wear.
Oh, yeah.
And they were like, they want to do the reverse Entourage. Like a lot of us were going on to Entourage and pretend. A lot of people were being themselves on Entourage, like a meta thing going on.
Yes. And
they were like, they wanted to make me like Fukijama and like send me to like Milan Fashion Week and like whatever, and sit in the front and like be there in gear and then drop this line like I'm like Fukijama. I'm like a designer at Fashion Week, and then we just drop a line.
That's dope.
It was dope, but then I was like, you guys, HBO just called me up about the shoes that I was not involved in. I'm definitely not trying to get blackballed by HBO. So
sure. It would probably piss them off.
That. Oh yeah.
Damn,
I ain't trying to get blackballed by HBO.
No, hell no. Well, we just set the record straight here. HBO, Dante Basco is innocent.
Yes, I'm innocent. I didn't do it. You know how the song goes.
Call you Shaggy.
It wasn't me, damn it.
How was your experience on Entourage, by the way? I mean, were you a fan of the show when the audition came up? I know your scene was pretty much just with Jerry, but did you end up meeting all the guys? How did it go?
Yeah, like I said, I've known Kevin for a long time, and actually some of the producers and like the real Johnny Drama, and then we are on a basketball league together.
Oh, wow.
There's a thing it was called the NBAE, the NBA Entertainment League, and we all played ball like every weekend, like during basketball season. And so we knew of each other and played ball with each other. Jerry was around. He wasn't in my clique, but he was around. We were around the same kind of group of people. We were all going to the same clubs and everything like that. Matter of fact, I think Jerry's first gig he ever booked in LA was my little brother's show. My little brother Dion.
Wow.
Was on a show called City Guys. CITY, you can't see why. So, when Jerry first got in town out of New York, his first gig was on Dion's show, and I think he got fired too.
Damn.
Fired. No, but it was because it was a rollerblade thing. But so, like, we all knew of each other, and we all, so it just was kind of cool. I got to do the show. What's crazy is one time after I did the show, Adrian Grenier showed up at my house randomly.
Oh shit!
Like I was having a little barbecue with some friends and some girls and everything, some like actresses and like just friends, like Hollywood friends. And then I guess Adrian was, I don't know if he was I don't know what the deal was, but next thing you know, on the back of my door, like someone's knocking. It's like Adrian Grenier, like, what's up? What are you doing here? And he's like, I came to meet so and so. I'm like, oh, okay. And he came. We had dinner. We ran the table and was like, yeah, you were on the show. Because we didn't do any scenes together.
Right.
It was cool. It's just how Holly. It was a very. That whole
what a
night
small
was a very
world.
Entourage. It was a very Entourage moment. You know what I'm saying?
that is. Vinny Chase showing up at the front door.
Vinny Chase showing up, back door, not in front door. He was in the
back
door. He somehow got through the gate in the back, knocking on the back door. We're like, who is this dude? What's he doing?
Damn, that's hilarious.
Hollering at a girl is what he was doing, Vinny. Like hollering at a girl.
I want to take it back to your early days a little bit in the Bay Area. Your mom was enrolling you guys in a lot of activities to keep you out of trouble and stuff like that. But specifically breakdancing, how did you and your siblings start that? Were you going to a class or were you just like seeing it on the street and like, yo, let's just watch and learn. Let's try it ourselves.
The breakdancing, our whole career, me and my brothers, and we're still actors and filmmakers today, and my sister, it all started in the streets of San Francisco, b-boying. We're in that era. It was the pioneering days of hip hop. And a lot of ways, I always said, like, I'm a hip hop artist, like, to this day. And
Facts.
It started with b-boying, and we were rappers and spoken word poetry. And even as a filmmaker and as an artist and as a writer, you still go back to what you grew up in and what inspired you. And it really helped cultivate how how I saw the world, or how I digested the world, you know, and who we were in the world, being like blue collar kids from the neighborhood, you know. So hip hop, it was like, yeah, of course my parents did not. They're from another generation. It's so
Right.
weird. Like the ones that they're from another generation, so obviously they didn't really know what we were doing.
Yep.
But they were supporters. You
Yeah.
know, we're
Yeah.
Filipino, so they, you know, we grew up singing and dancing, and so just kind of this new way of doing it was just wow, that was cool. We're in the living room doing routines, being inspired by whatever came down the pipeline, whether it be Beat Street or Wild Style or, you know, Breaking, the movies I'm talking about, and then
Yeah,
all
yeah.
the music. And we're in the, you know, I always tell people like you don't understand hip hop in those days. It wasn't like there was no favorite kind of hip hop or song because you'd only get one song.
Right.
Every now and then, like White Lines came. Okay, dope. You know, Jam On It came. Oh my God. Like it's like you like our early breakdancing competitions, you'd go to the competition and literally when you sign up, there was like 4 songs you could have done a routine to.
Wow.
Because like those are only 4 songs that we kind of all really knew. There wasn't a plethora of music. There wasn't north, south, east, west. There wasn't none of that. There was like literally Egyptian Lover. I remember
Yep.
like Egyptian Lover, White Lines. You know what I'm saying? Jam On It. It was
Yep.
like, and you literally mark the box of what did you do your routine to? We did our routine to White Lines, and then like, that's what you do. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
So we grew with hip hop. We saw it flourish and become something, and it became something for us too. It really impacted our lives to this day, and there's been some ups and downs within hip hop, but
Right. Well, it led you to, I mean, it's the breakdancing that got you the scholarship to San Francisco Ballet.
ballet company,
And
exactly.
that takes you the sort of success of that coinciding with, I think you mentioned a family business deal perhaps gone wrong, was like a crossroads for your family. And you decided, well, maybe we should move to LA when you were 10 years old.
Yeah, no doubt. Like, yeah, we're from Pittsburgh, California originally, which is like a little blue collar neighborhood, you know, outside of San Francisco. And then, yeah, my parents did some bad business deals. Actually, my dad, you know, it's horrible. The whole thing is like friends trying to do some thing together, my dad and his friends. And
It'd
then,
be the ones closest to you.
yeah, one of the friends ran off with the money. It was so heartbreaking, but it changed all of our lives. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It was part of the universe's plan for you guys.
Right. And my mom was, how the story goes, my mom was like telling my dad, you know, you made that deal, and you know it is what it is. It went sour, so now it's my turn to make a, you know, to make a
Move.
and and she's and her things. I'm gonna bet on these kids, and then that led us to L.A. and led to our career here.
When you come to LA, you're 10 years old, and by 12, you're making your on-screen debut on The Wonder Years, which, I mean, in comparison to a lot of folks, like that's pretty quick turnaround to like, you know, really make your on-screen debut. I want to know if you remember that time, 12-year-old Dante. What were your goals with it, if any? Who was inspiring you? Who did you want to be like? I mean, I know your favorite actor is Montgomery Clift, and you like a lot of that method
Yeah.
era type of stuff. But is that what you were watching at that age, and were you inspired by that, or what was going on?
Oh yeah, we were in classes when we were young. When we got in town, my parents got into acting classes. They were like, if you're gonna do something, you better study and figure out what you're doing. And so we really were becoming actors. We're chasing greats and learning. It's a whole new world. I mean, even when ballet came, you gotta understand we're like blue collar kids. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Pittsburgh's like a little blue collar town. Then we got to LA. By the time we got settled into LA, we bounced around to like Cerritos, which was really cool, middle class neighborhood. We had some family there, and Cerritos is dope. But then when my dad was able to really come down and get a house and establish it for us here, we moved to a town called Paramount.
Yes,
Paramount.
yes.
Paramount's like the hood. You know what I'm saying? It's like
Yeah.
it's cool. It's blue. It's cool. I mean, it was like, you know, it's Compton, Paramount. We were in the middle of a neighborhood called Dog Patch, and we were, you know, it was kind of like, even when we first got to the place, we didn't even want to get out of the car because we were like, this is not what we were used to. But
Yeah.
when you're from the neighborhood or the hood or however you want to look at it, you know what I'm saying? You don't, look, we're not black, but we're Filipino. But whether we're in the neighborhood at all, there's ways to get out of the hood, and there is education, but it's actually a small amount of people that get out through education.
Right.
It's sports and entertainment.
Those
Like,
are
it's sports.
the two main paths. Yeah.
Those are the two main paths. So people like look at us like, how did you guys do it? Like, dog, we were like, it was entertainment. It's like, you know what I'm saying? We were like our own little Jackson situation, and we're just like dancing and acting and singing and doing everything we can. And that, by good fortune, got us to elevate from, be able to give us a good pathway out of the neighborhood, or to, nothing wrong with, not out like the neighborhood's a bad place to be from. I love being from where I'm from, but it gave us a pathway to kind of to rise a little bit. But yeah, I mean, as far as who we were chasing, it was like once you're in acting classes and once we were doing ballet and being from where we're from, the world of art opened up.
Right.
I talk about it sometimes in other places. It's like, it is like Harry Potter. It's like you're like that kid that's just like a regular kid that's like, Harry Potter was underneath the staircase, but you're just a regular kid. But then something unlocks the wizarding world.
Right.
And you're like, whoa, like, hold on a second, ballet, dance, people are coming to see us dance, and dance and art can bring us to another level. Oh, you're acting. Oh, you're rapping. You're doing poetry. We're being valued by how we see the world, how we feel, what we can do. And it cuts both ways. It's great to be valued by like that by other people, richer people. You know what I'm saying? Other communities, and then you feel special, and you're able to kind of, you can kind of like open the eyes of like what is out there in the world, and it's great. But also sometimes, you could feel like you're being used, or you could feel like you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like you're just a token, like, you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, it cuts both ways, but that was our thing. We were chasing that kind of stuff. When we got to acting, our teacher got us on the old school actors quickly, and Brandos and the Cliffs and the Pacinos and De Niro's, and just trying to chase the giants. I mean, I got lucky in my career to work with some really amazing actors. By the time I got to work with, Dustin Hoffman, he's one of the guys we were chasing, like
One of the goats,
one of the 70s, method actors, of course.
Yeah.
But one of the De Niro, Pacino, Hoffman, I mean, Nicholson, the four like character actors that became leading men.
Yeah.
And they're in the footsteps of Cliff and Brando, and
Totally.
so it's like all that, like we're big movie heads and classic films, but we weren't the only ones. It's so crazy. I always loved hearing like old hip hop songs. Now the modern times at that time, like Wu-Tang would talk about the Guns of Navarone.
Oh yeah.
Or like Lauryn Hill saying like Last Tango in Paris. So, like, these are the movies we were watching too. There was a group of artists. We were all kind of dipping into the same well. There were the streets that we were running and the neighborhoods that we were living, and then there were like the movies that maybe our grandparents watched, or our parents, or and that was still fueling us and seeing our life in those movies too.
Right.
Which is really phenomenal, because when you're like a youth teenager, especially from neighborhoods at that time, there's not a lot of things being made for you, so you're seeing yourself in these other great films. You're seeing yourself, you're seeing your neighbor, you're seeing your friends in these other great films and great stories and great plays, and that from different times you're going through the same struggles. You know what I'm saying? And to see that and you can connect with that now, we can make art that can depict where we're from, but still borrow and be inspired by and be connected to our history. It's a shared history of, as I tell actors and filmmakers, like the greatest thing about what we do is we have a lineage that we belong to that goes back, and it's all in the movies.
So
you know
true.
What I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just go back, and you may think you're doing something brand new, but you're actually, someone's done what you've done. You're just in the long line of that. Just find out where you fit in, and research it, and then build upon the shoulders of
Nothing new under the sun.
Nothing new. You don't got to reinvent the wheel. You'll save a lot of time if you know your history and build upon that.
Right. Facts, man. At 12 years old, you're kind of looking up to all these giants in the industry, looking up to a lot of the GOATs. And we're going to fast forward to 91. 15 years old and you booked the role of Rufio in Hook. I know you thought the Rufio costume was whack at first. Did you voice that opinion at all, or were you just like, yo, I'm on set with Steven Spielberg, I'm just not gonna say shit, like whatever it is, it is?
Oh, I'm not gonna say nothing, man. You know, I'll play my role. Like I started acting when I was 10. You know, you're going through a lot of stuff. There's always wardrobe people doing stuff for you, and you always kind of like little by little you try to press, you know.
Yeah,
Especially,
yeah.
what's weird, what's always funny is they're always, you know, especially being like a brown boy growing up in the industry, you're playing a lot of street kids and
Yeah.
urban kids.
Yeah.
And then they try to put some wardrobe on you. That's like whack. You're like,
Yeah,
this is not.
this is not
like
authentic. It's not what we would wear. Yeah.
yeah, you're like, this is some street kid that got dressed at J.C. Penney. What's
Yeah,
going on?
yeah.
And you would try to, you know, press a little bit, like maybe no, it's this, maybe a little baggy, and like I don't know if they'd rock a shirt like this. Is like, you know what I'm saying? I don't know.
Yeah.
Purple shirt. Can we maybe try? But when it got to Hook, we're such in another world, and it's Steven Spielberg, and I mean, when you're working on sets. Especially at that level, at any level though, they're artists all the way up and down the board. So yeah, we're actors, we're artists. Of course, the director and the cameraman, they're artists. But like the person putting your clothes together is a wardrobe artist. That's what
Right.
they do.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
And you're seeing, you know, and it's good with Hook too, because it's like sometimes you don't understand the artistry of wardrobe when it's like a regular world and it's just people in suits and clothes, because you're like, we all wear regular suits and clothes.
Sure.
But when you see them putting together Captain Hook, and you
Right.
see them putting together all the pirates, you know what I'm saying? And
Yeah,
then,
from a fantasy world, yeah.
fantasy world, or if you know, if you see people do something back in time, you're like saying, wow, these people are really pulling.
They know what's up, yeah.
They know what's up. So you're so impressed. You can't really argue with them. You're just collaborating. And the hair was crazy.
Yeah.
I was just uncomfortable because I was, you know, you go from baggy jeans and
To that.
double XLs to like, you know, skin tight, everything. You're like, this is crazy. And you're a teenager. You're like,
Yeah.
yeah, you want to be cool. So yeah, I was a little nervous about all stuff. My belly button was showing. My
Yep.
belly button, I had the midriff rocking.
The crop top, boy.
Boy, that was not the one for me. It turns out now it's a legendary look and it's great.
It is.
At the time, it was nerve-wracking. But I had other things to worry about. You know what I'm saying? I had to try to hold my own with Robin Williams, and I had to try to hold my own with, you know, Dustin Hoffman. So
Let's talk about that for a second. You were already very inspired by Robin Williams because of Dead Poets Society, which is what sparked your interest initially in being a poet. What was your first interaction like with Robin, and did you bring that up immediately?
not immediately. My first interaction with Robin Williams was we met at sword fight training.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, so we did months of sword fight training before we started the film, because me and him especially had to learn.
Yeah, there's a lot of
sword
it.
fighting.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I might have started somewhere close to 2-3 months before actual shooting, just training like several days a week with real sword fighters, like a fencing coach that's like Ted, shout out to Ted, like Olympic, like Olympic fencers, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And then came the combat, the stage combat directors and choreographers. So it was like 2 sets of, you have to learn how to actually sword fight, and then you have to learn how to sword fight on screen.
Yeah, 2 different things.
2 different things, but you want both of them, so you know what you're actually doing, and then you know how to do a routine. You know?
Right.
And also Robin had to do it. So there's a lot of me and Robin in together learning how to sword fight, and it was just very very cool hanging out with him early in the game. And ultimately we got down to talking about poetry and about dead poets. And the thing about it is, what he was impressed with was like me and my crew in Paramount, we started our own Dead Poet Society.
Right. That's dope.
Yeah, which became our rap band. Me and my brothers called 13607 and a half. And that was the address of the garage of our house. Our house was 13607 Obispo Avenue in Paramount. And then the separate garage, because we had this big house. I mean, we had a big family, a little house, 2 bedrooms, 3 bedrooms, 1 bathroom.
I've heard your anecdote about the amount of people at the crib. Yeah.
And there was like 13 plus people. It was all, you know how it is, things moving out.
Yeah.
But so my dad converted the garage into like our hangout, like our room really. And all my brothers, 4 brothers lived in the room, my cousins. the fellas from the neighborhood that would come, that would gravitate to what we were doing, kind of hung out there. We had a pool table, we had lockers, we just would sleep on the ground. It was crazy. But it became our Dead Poet Society, where we would just write poems and rhymes, and we're all like young artists and young teenagers, like wanting more from the world than what our neighborhood had to offer us. I mean, Dead Poet Society, we were all going to acting classes and reading plays. We drive out to the beach in the middle of the night and howl at the moon and like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
Write stuff for women. Like it was like the movie. Like want to suck the marrow out of life.
Yeah.
And we were the half, the 13607 and a half. And Robin was just kind of amazed, like, wow, these like kids from the neighborhood just created their own, their own Dead Poets. Like, again, we're like Filipino Mexican kids from our neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? Watching this movie about like prep school white boys,
right,
in another era, but like no, like that's us too. You know what I'm saying? Like that's where we are. We're in high school. We're feeling that. And he was always a big supporter of me and all that. Matter of fact, I ended up starring. He the rap present he got me for the movie is a really big
the Walt Whitman book.
Yeah, Leather Leaves of Grass, which was great. And he was always supported me as just being a poet. And I ended up starting a poetry venue in my living room, which became the Spot, DPL.
Internationally known.
Yeah. Dante's
largest
Poetry
weekly
Lounge.
open mic in the U.S.
No doubt. That became the Poetry Lounge. And I attribute some of that magic to the magic of Robin Williams, man. So one day on the set, I brought my whole crew to the set to meet, because he wanted to meet everybody.
Oh,
So, okay.
wow.
So all the fellas came, and it was like this is 91, or 90. We went to Compton Indoor. We all had hats.
Yeah.
Everyone had hats with their click on it, right?
Yeah.
We're in Compton Indoor Swap Meet. We got a hat made for him, embroidered, said 13607 and a half. And then underneath it said, "Oh, Captain, my Captain." Like from Dead Poets, right?
Damn, that shit just gave me goosebumps.
Yeah, man. So we gave it to him on the set, and there's a picture of me and my whole crew, all of us. Just with him. I'm in friggin' Rufio costume still, and he's like half in the Peter Banning costume, but he has a hat on. Anyway, like right before COVID, I ran into his daughter Zelda, and I hadn't seen her since she was a young girl. And she does voices on Avatar and Korra. But we were supposed to hook up for lunch, and then COVID hit, and we weren't able to get together. But then she sent me a text, and she said, I was going through my dad's stuff, and look what I found. And he still had the hat.
Wow.
So cool.
What a nice feeling, man.
No, it was really beautiful. It was really, really beautiful,
And that leather-bound Leaves of Grass copy that you have, is that something that you sort of have like in a position on your shelf where you're like, leave it there and I'm just not going to touch it, it's too valuable? Or do you often read through it? Like,
I read through it. He wrote a great note to me in the front of it. It's like, it's on my shelf with my, with other books of poems that, mean a lot to me. But yeah, it's a great man. Rest in peace, Robin Williams. He was the best.
R.I.P. the goat for show. During the filming of Hook, while that movie was going on, you were also a teenager. You were 15 years old, so you were being a teenager. You were wilding, right? During that movie, you lost your virginity, which Dustin Hoffman.
You heard about that? You heard about that?
Out. Yeah. You got caught shoplifting, and that resulted in you having to move in a very Fresh Prince-esque turn of events.
Yeah, we didn't move. We stayed in Paramount. We just had to move schools.
Oh, you had to move school? Okay.
No, we stayed in the neighborhood. And then we just went to the new school.
Wow, you and I have a very similar experience.
Where'd you go?
I'm from New York. I'm from Queens.
Okay.
Very similarly, my parents... Are you familiar with the New York area?
Yeah.
My parents wanted to move out to Long Island, but it took us a while to get to Long Island. And so my mom wanted me to go to school there to stay out of trouble. So I was going to school in Long Island and still living in Queens. And that commute was insane. But my mom would do it every day, pick me up, drop me off, and pick me up.
She dropped you off to the school or to the train?
To the school, man.
Damn.
If you think about that, it was at least a 45-minute drive each way.
The LIE didn't go out that way?
The LIRR, it does go out that way. But
okay.
She was like, no, I'm not letting you. Because she knew probably if she dropped me to the LIRR, there's no chance I'm going to school.
Okay, okay.
There's no
Okay.
chance I'm gonna go to the
Okay.
school.
There you go. There you go.
So being a high school student, then that's circa sophomore, junior year. How does that affect you in school? Is being in a movie with Robin and Dustin and stuff something that you're kind of walking around flexing, like, yo, dude, I'm kind of out here right now, or are you playing it close? You know, how do you?
It was hard. I mean, it's different because I started acting when I was 10. And so I've always been like around on you know, you'd be anywhere, and we're in a suburb of LA, like Cerritos and then Paramount. Like people would see you on TV. They knew.
Right, right.
You know what I'm saying? Like you
Yeah.
was like you did something. I'd be on TV and I mean I was working a good amount from 10 to 15. Of course, once you do Hook, it's a whole nother level of the game. But like I had done Perfect Weapon. I was doing my thing in the neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? So much so, like in Paramount, it's a tough neighborhood. It's like gangster. You're friends with everybody because we're from the neighborhood. But
Yeah.
the homies that were like the real homies were like they look out for you too. Like when stuff was going down, there's a fight, there's something going down. There's when we were doing our thing too. Me and my brothers were like running the numbers for like we were like
So I've heard, yeah.
yeah. So I mean, we got caught shoplifting. We weren't banging and we
Yeah.
weren't dealing drugs, but we were of the neighborhood also.
Yeah, teenage hooligan shit.
Teenage hooligan shit, lightweight.
I'm
But-
familiar.
Exactly. But when the heavy stuff was about to happen, you know, the homies would look out. Like
Yeah.
it was like, you don't need to be here. Like this is not for you right now. Like you know, they would tell you you're supposed to get out. Like
Yeah.
don't do this. This is not for you. Like, you know, and that's a good look.
It's a great look.
Because people got shot. Friends got killed. Friends went to jail. You know, whatever. You look back, you're like, damn, we survived.
Yeah.
You know, we could have made a few other bad decisions and bad things could have happened.
A couple of different choices makes your fate a whole different fate. Yeah.
100%. And so part of the change was we got busted shoplifting and my parents freaked out, rightfully. I was in the middle of shooting the Hook.
Right. That's crazy, man.
It's crazy.
You were shoplifting these gloves for the thrill of it, really. You didn't have to.
No, I had my mom's credit card, but it was like, you know,
Yeah,
isotoners.
Exactly. Exactly.
I don't know. You know, when you're young and dumb, you're like, I can, you know.
And that dude who caught you guys recognized you from Perfect Weapon.
Yeah, he said I was watching you guys. He's like, that's that kid from Perfect Weapon. And I was like, oh no, they're boosting stuff. My cousin actually was. I mean, I was involved, but I thought I was pretty smooth with it. But my cousin was less smooth. Got us
Clearly.
all busted. We got bused to Orange County. So we went from a school that was predominantly black and Mexican to a school that in Orange County that was predominantly white.
The OC.
The OC.
Yeah.
And we went from like, you know, we're all Dickies and, you know, flannels and boots and whatever to like Birkenstocks and, you know what I'm saying?
It's
Surf
a different
shorts.
archetype there. Yeah.
It was a different archetype. So when I did Hook, I had already shot Hook. And by the time that we got busted to the next place. And then when Hook came out, it was cool, but we didn't know anybody. We were new in that school. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
it was just trying to kind of keep a low profile, and people were, people were tripping out on the whole thing. Me too. I mean, it's a new experience, and everyone was cool. But it's an art high school. It's Orange County School of the Arts.
Gotcha. So, oh, wow. So people would have even looked at it in a way of sort of like they're maybe aspiring. Some people probably a little envious. Like,
Yeah, but
Yeah.
also now Orange County School of the Arts is one of the biggest high schools in the country. It's in Santa Ana. At that time, it was in Orange County in Los Alamitos. It was like a glorified after school program that we
Right.
got into.
yeah, yeah.
So it was like a regular high school that had all these other actors in it and dancers and visual artists and everything. But it was like a really cool after school program at that time. So you're still dealing with like just a regular Orange County high school.
Right.
And I remember I was so weird because it was like, you know, people, you know, it's drama and kids in business and girls and like, you want, you know, proms and
Yeah.
I was like telling someone like, I've never even dated a white girl. I don't know what's going. It's like y'all white girls. I've never even dated a white girl. They're like, what? Then the girl's like, this is first white girl you should date is right here. I was like, what?
The reason I ask because I can imagine myself at 15, and if I've always had my aspirations of being in the entertainment business as an actor and a rapper, and if I was 15 in a movie with Robin Williams, you couldn't tell me shit, boy. I would be strolling through them hallways just like you couldn't tell me shit.
Yeah, but it's hard when it's like it would have been different if I was back in my old neighborhood And
Yeah.
I feel like I missed it too because I was on my homies too. Were like, "Damn, D, like you wasn't even around when when the movie came out. You wasn't there. You know what I'm saying? You was like in Orange County, so you didn't. I didn't get the fruits of my labors in my own neighborhood.
Damn. Yeah. Yeah. You do. Yeah. I hear you. I hear you because of that
And
switch.
then it felt weird because I spent so much time in Orange County at that time. You would feel strange coming back to your neighborhood where like everyone's growing up, things are getting crazier. It's also the 90s. I mean, I remember one time I pulled up coming back from OC and then some guy caught eyes with somebody, make a left to follow me, some
Yeah.
gangsters for sure. Boom, boom, left, right. I don't know, my little brother's with me. We pull right into right into our driveway through the spiral fence, and I was like, just run the house, like whatever, like at this point, it's like whatever goes down. It's like my dude just rolls up right on us, and you get out the car like, what the fuck, what's up? Like you're like, I don't know if the dude's gonna blast me, what?
Yeah.
And it turns out to be one of the homies. And it's like, fool, where you been? We haven't seen you forever. And like, it's just hugs and daps. I'm like, damn, you scared the shit out of me. What the fuck you doing? Follow me. You know what I'm saying? Lights on me and shit.
Was your first voice role in a Goofy movie, or was it actually that tire commercial?
Was there a tire commercial? I've heard this story.
I only said that because it's written by you in the first person somewhere, perhaps by a fake account then.
No, I mean, there is. So I don't know what was first or not, but there is a tire commercial. I remember doing the tire commercial, or I remember. I don't know, man. It's been a long career. It's been like 40 years. You know what I'm saying? So it's got to be around the same time. I think I was a small tire, the kid tire or something like that.
Okay, if we talk about the Goofy movie, how did it come about for you then? Was your representation saying like, yo, we should submit you to some voice stuff, you have a dope voice? Was that something that was in your head and you were like, yo, management, get me into some voice roles? Like how did that come about?
No, just you know how it is. We just have agents, and you have a lot of agents.
Yeah,
You have like,
yeah.
you have like the commercial agent, and you have the movie agent, and you have like print agents, and then you got like the voiceover. Now it's like more like now voice acting is big, and people come to Hollywood just to voice act.
Just for that,
That wasn't a thing back in the day. Really, it was like that was one of the things that your agents will submit you for. There's like that one voiceover agent down, So I was always. It was a part of my auditions. Like every now and then, I'd be auditioning, especially for Disney stuff. I like audition for The Lion King. I auditioned for Homeward Bound. I remember these ideas. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay.
Yeah.
I auditioned for Mulan. I auditioned for all that stuff. And I was like, I ain't getting none of this stuff. But I found out later that I was on a Disney list. And I'm still on a Disney list that like a voices that they like. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so I must have been one of the things where they were just like brought me in one day to do some extra voices as a kid for the Goofy movie.
Yeah.
Which I didn't know what it was. It was like, I remember being like on the Disney lot that day with my brothers, and it was hilarious. I mean, I do remember because that we were like young and it's hot in Burbank.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I remember
Valley's like 15 degrees hotter. Yeah.
Hotter. And we was like young little hub boys. We were walking around the Disney lot. I think we took our shirts off, baggy jeans, because it's hot. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And this kid was like, you guys can't be doing that. Y'all got to put your shirts on. Like, you can't be walking around here with no shirts on.
Somebody call HR.
Exactly. So when I'm in the booth and we're doing lines, I was just improv. And I don't even know if we had like, I'm sure there were some lines they had us do, but then it got to a point where I think one of the producers just asked like, hey, how would you pick up a girl? It's like, what? Like, how would you pick up a girl? And I was like, oh, like, and at that time, and still this time, one of my favorite groups is Jodeci.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and our favorite song at the time, me and my brother's favorite song at the time was "Come and Talk to Me," like the remix. Come and talk to me. I really want to meet you, girl. I really want to know your name. Oh, come and talk to me. Right.
Classic.
And then Casey's like, talk to me, talk to me, talk to me, baby. That's it.
That's the line.
I mean, that's the line. I mean, that is Jodeci.
Yeah.
Yo, Stacy, talk to me, talk to me, talk to me, baby. That's Jodeci.
Before you carry on, I just want to call out 30 years later and you deliver that line the exact same fucking way you did 30 years ago. You've been blessed with that voice, man.
Wow, I appreciate it. And you know what's crazy is because, the Goofy movie is so great, but it has become this like classic, but also like a hip hop classic, just the movie. It's just been adopted by the culture. Like,
Oh yeah, it's ingrained.
It's ingrained. And so it's funny that it's like, oh yeah, that's Jodeci. When I saw like people like, no, that's me doing Jodeci. It
Yeah,
just
yeah.
makes sense. You know what I'm saying?
Are you a part of the upcoming documentary they have releasing about a Goofy movie?
Oh yeah. I am. I know the director, Chris Ninas. I am a part of it to a degree. I'm a part of it. Yeah.
Okay. I'm even more excited to watch it now when it drops. After a Goofy movie, which was 95, you didn't do any major voice work until quite a few years later. And
Yeah.
I remember I saw in the early 2000s you started picking up the guest star credits, Proud Family, Kim Possible, Johnny Bravo. But
yeah.
Jake Long and Avatar were your first major voice roles. Is that correct?
Yeah, because I'm just an actor, man. I do on camera, and then voice acting opened up, and so it's just part of the cycle. Like you do, whatever's going on.
Yeah.
I ended up my first thing back doing that. Someone was created a pilot for the Cartoon Network, and it was called Kitty Bobo, and it was
yeah.
Yeah, they were Asian artists, and then they reached out for me to do it, and that kind of really, when I started, the pilot didn't go, but when I started that pilot, that kind of like kicked off, like I guess people were like, oh, like Dante's really doing voiceover stuff.
Yes.
And that's when it kind of started rolling to a degree.
Let's talk about that period in your life for a second. I've heard you say that during your 20s was perhaps your brokest time to a point where you got a job parking cars at Gladstone's.
Yes.
During that time frame, were you thinking to yourself like, all right, I'm going to weather the storm. I know I'm going to get through this. Or were you at a certain point thinking like, this shit could be a wrap, man. I don't know if anything else is out here for me.
Yeah, everything. No, I mean, I don't know if it's there's nothing else we knew how to do. We don't know. I mean, I'm living with my brothers. We're living the life in LA. Actually, when I got that job at Gladstone, it was crazy because I was probably maybe 21 or early 20s or something. Yeah, I was broke. Like, I don't know. Like, you ran through all your money. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The money you saved up. I was like, when I turned 18, I was helping my parents buy a house. So I moved him out of the Paramount, moved him to Downey, which is a little nicer. And then I took the rest of the money to live on and just kind of was like hustling with my brothers. We moved out, and you're just going. And then, there's ups and downs in the industry. That's just nature of the beast. I remember that morning I literally was like $800 overdrawn on my checking account. And it's like, I did not want to get out of bed.
Right.
And I remember this is back in the days where there was we had answering machines.
Uh-huh.
And so I'm like, I'm literally covers over the head, I'm like, what am I gonna do? And phone's ringing. I let the phone go to answering machine.
Oh, that's your homie in jail, right?
Yeah, so my homie, this cat named Marlon, in jail. He's like, someone pick up. Yo, anybody home? Yo, brothers, anyone home? I need help. I'm in jail. We're like, damn, I picked up the phone, spent like an hour going, doing 3A with him and his dad and other people just trying to get him out of jail.
Yeah.
And then when I hung up, I was like, things could be better. Things could be worse. Like, I ain't in jail. Get your ass up. And just by the end of the day, I had a job parking cars at Gladstone's.
When you were doing that, would you be parking somebody's car and they'd be like, yo, are you Rufio?
Yes.
Did that fuck with you a little bit?
Of course. But I mean, whatever. It's all, look, I know who I am. I know where I'm from. It's not like I'm not tripping. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We all have ego and we're all actors. And it's one of those weird things about in LA. It's like people are on series, people are on, but there's certain people that have families and money to fall back on. There's certain of us that we don't have that. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
You live and die by the sword. And so I can never judge any of the people out there, friends and folks, by the hustle they got to do in between gigs, because how to survive in this town is not when you're working. We can all have to survive that. You can only survive in this town if you know how to survive in between the gigs.
So true, man. It's always interesting. I think when the strikes happened in 2023 was the first time I became acutely aware of the outside world's perspective on the entertainment business. And because I was posting stuff on social media or whatever,
right.
and a lot of the comments were like, I was like, oh, you think that anybody remotely involved is rich? Like, you think that
Right.
just because you were in you've seen someone on their face
Right.
on TV, you think they're rich, but it's just not the case.
It's not the case, and it's not. It goes across the board from like
Yeah.
actors to the musicians to like all the rappers. Like you guys, everyone's living their thing, but we know the reality of what it is, what it takes, what you make. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And whatever. This doesn't go forever. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
You got to be smart about what you're doing. But yeah, people would recognize me, or I know, or you see friends. You know, there's a popular place to go.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But then I remember one day a van pulled up and it was a Filipino family, a whole family, and they're
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
come, I'm parking the minivan for them, and they're all starstruck, taking pictures. Can we take pictures? I'm taking pictures with them.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
My boss, my manager's like, who are you? I was like, in my country. I'm in my country. I'm like a royal person. But it got weird. You just gotta deal with it. It's humbling. I think it's good to be humbled every now and then.
100%, man. Yeah, no, I asked that question because I think, letting go of ego is one of the most important things that we can do, especially as artists, to do your best work and have longevity, both as a person and an artist in this business. Letting go of ego is honestly step one to that. And I think it sounds like a very humbling experience.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt.
I met you for the very first time at Comic-Con last year. I was so impressed by how humble you were, man. I loved, your attitude was so genuine and down to earth.
Yeah,
And
I appreciate that. Man, I come from a big family, man. You can't be
yeah.
tripping. You know what I'm saying?
So Jake Long and Avatar both hit in 2005, right? So this is kind of like a when it rains it pours situation. Now you're getting two starring roles. Which one of those came first for you?
Jake, for sure. But it was crazy because this is what happened. I did a pilot for ABC Disney, a live action pilot.
Okay.
And it was called The Chang Family Saves the World. Essentially, it was about this family. It was created and written by John Ridley, who
Oh, dope. Yeah.
who won an Oscar for 12 Years a Slave.
Yep.
And it was directed by Paris Barkley, who was like one of the biggest directors, right? And so John is black, but his wife is Asian. So he wrote this Asian pilot of this. Basically, it was the Fantastic Four. And
Dope,
it's like
yeah.
me and my sister were teenagers, and we find out that we have magical powers that our parents didn't tell us. And then when we find out as high schoolers, we got to kind of figure it out, and then we have to kind of save the world. It was before Heroes came out, but
Wow,
it was
yeah,
basically
yeah.
Heroes, right? And we were supposed to get picked up. We were the most expensive pilot that season. There was like $16 million. And then we got
shit.
picked up in the trades. And then on the way to upfronts, which when you get picked up, you go to New York to like go to upfronts and they try to get advertising for the show and everything. They canceled us. Like they were like, instead of going to the airport, we went to the office. It was like, it's not going to happen. And damn. It was so crazy. And you thought that was going to change your life. You know what I'm saying? Like, damn, we're going to have our own show. It's like the
Yeah.
first like Asian show. And you're like one of the stars of it, right?
Yeah.
Cool character. It was actually a cool character. It was like my sister, who played by Rona Figueroa. It was actually two Filipino kids with two Chinese parents. It was crazy. And Rona was like a star from Broadway, and she was like the action girl. Like she had like all like the super skills, and my character's like, what do I got? I don't have anything. You know what I'm saying? It was kind of a funny character, but then like as the pilot goes on, you realize he has some mental ability that he only taps into. It's crazy. But so it didn't go. I was so bummed. But however, I ended up getting this other show. I don't know how it, to me, karmically was like, it's the same show. It's literally the same show.
Just an animated version. Yeah.
Just an animated version that instead of the powers, there's an actual dragon. And my mother on the TV show, live action, was the same, my mom who was on the animated show, Lauren Tom. So it was like, to me, I was like, damn, the world wasn't ready for the live action, so they just put us on animation. But
yeah.
So it was kind of bummed for that, but also excited because it was like the first, doing a Disney character is pretty exciting, an original Disney character,
Extremely exciting, man.
Yeah.
So Jake Long comes in first. In the same year is you booked the role of Zuko. Did that ever come up with either Nick or Disney? Like, or your schedules are
Yes.
going to conflict? Okay, tell me about it.
I don't know. I mean, I was kind of, something happened because we were like, the Jake thing was going great and it was really popular. And then But see, what happens is animation, when you're on live action, they lock you up. They pay you a lot more for live action.
Right, yeah.
Because they go, you can't be on multiple shows at the same time, so we got to pay
Yeah.
you X amount of money. But with voice, obviously, they don't, you know what I'm saying? They're like,
Yeah,
dude,
a lot of voice actors bounce around, yeah.
right. But what happened was, just by the stroke of luck or what happened, Avatar casted not just me, but me and Mae Whitman
Right,
to play
right.
the two main characters in the other show. And but while that was happening, before Disney found out, and I don't know if this was why we didn't get a third season for it probably is part of why we didn't get a third season
For Jake, yeah.
for Jake, because of all that was going on. Because before that, I had a whole meeting with Disney where they were planning all this big stuff, and they wanted to do I had a meeting with one of the heads of Disney about what they were wanting to do with Jake Long, with press and how they were doing it. But then they found out about the Avatar thing, and there was like some inner drama. Like, it didn't really get to us at the end of the day, but
Yeah.
I think between the mouse and the SpongeBob situation, there were some things going on, and so I think that led to an early, just kind of early cutoff of Jake. But then we also didn't know, nobody knew that Avatar was going to become what it became, and
Right,
how it was going
right.
to impact the generation. So, you know how these things work out. I mean, things are supposed to be the way they're supposed to be.
Big facts, man. Big facts. Okay, so speaking of Avatar, you are pretty much the leader of Team Zutara. You ship Zutara so
Yeah.
much that you wrote a poem.
Yeah.
I want you to tell me, why is that exactly? Why are you so confident about Zutara?
No, I just think it's fun. I think it's fun. I think that, I got embraced into the whole Comic-Con world and the whole nerd community.
Yeah.
And it's not something I grew up in. I was like I was a hip hop kind of club kid, and so it was kind of cool to be engaged in that world and still being a part, being embraced by that community. But I
Yeah.
like the ship because, like everybody else, man, it's like I thought they were gonna end up together. Now there's some good reasons they would. There's some good reasons they wouldn't. And I understand, as I've watched this show, why Katang happened, and I did Katang also, but I just like it's the romantic in me that you understand, like, sometimes two people, maybe they don't end up together, but you could see why they were meant for each other and why they were important for each other
Yeah.
in other ways. And look at fire and water, man. Come on.
Perfect yin and yang.
Exactly.
It was during that time, of course, that when you weren't working as much, that you started the Poetry Lounge in your living room, which, as we discussed before, has become the largest open mic space in the
Yeah.
U.S. How involved are you with it now still? Or how often are you there performing?
I'm like a figurehead these days. I go back to just check in on it. I will go back if I need to work on something, but there's generations. It's been like 28 years now or something like that. So there's
Yeah.
always generations that go through the lounge. I'm one of the forefathers with me, Shihan, poetry, and brother Jamel are the four founders of the lounge.
Yeah.
But I'm always working on stuff. I'm writing a one-man show right now. It's a lot of poetry in the one-man show that I get to.
Oh,
I'll
dope.
go back and I workshopped it there. The Poetry Lounge had a festival that I went back and did the first hour of the show there. So it's home base and for a lot of us, and then
Yeah.
I love checking in with the next generation, see what's going on. But it's also, there's things you got to let go. You got to let the next generation rock with it and bring that new energy in.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's because of early years, I ran it solely, and it was crazy. And then bringing in my homies and my brothers and poems, and then Shihan ran it for a lot of years solo. He's still like, definitely the anchor of the place. But all of us ultimately have to like let go and see. There's a new generation running it now, and we kind of get to check in. But we've all moved on to other things. Which, of course, especially for me and Shihan, includes writing films and directing films and stuff having to do with poetry still. But, we try to encourage the writers and poets to to continue to write, but also move beyond. We're in a town this is Hollywood. Like,
Yeah.
I always tell the young poets, like, it's all about stories. We're storytellers,
Yeah.
even as poets. The best screenwriters in the world and playwrights and even novelists, the best part of what they write, they say it's poetry. That was poetry. and that's what we write on the regular. So take your poems and make them bigger stories and sell them here. Like, this is the town to sell your stories.
Yeah,
And so
facts.
I'm always trying to help cultivate the poets and pushing the poets into getting contracts with studios, write shows. Like, let's not be just, start with a poem and let that grow into a TV show, a movie, however you want to look at it.
That's the move. What is your favorite Halloween memory as a kid?
I think when you're at that age, in junior high, I do remember one night. It's one of those first nights of freedom. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We're running around on bicycles, getting candy. We don't curfew. Some of the homies, and this was during like Cerritos time, so it was like kind of a safe neighborhood to be like running around.
Yeah.
And so it's one of my favorite nights where you just run around, chasing girls around, finding some girls, running around. You're like in 7th grade, 6th grade, and candy and just some mask. You're too cool to get all costumed out, but you have a mask.
The bare minimum.
The bare minimum, and we're getting some candy, and we're meeting up with friends around certain parks and staying out. It's a night you got an excuse to stay out late, and it's like one of your first nights of freedom as a junior high kid.
That's what's up, man. If you could bring back just one thing from the 90s, what would it be?
One thing from the 90s was such a great era. That's our life. That's where we grew up, right?
Big facts.
That's a good one. I wish I could think about that harder. I mean, there's so many things that go through my mind because I've been in because I'm turning 50 this year, so I'm looking back a lot, and there's things I actually bought a watch from the 90s that I really.
Wow.
I'm like a watch collector, but not. I mean, I do have some nice watches, but my watch collection is really about my memories and what I liked. And again,
I love it. Yeah.
So there's a watch from the 90s that I love that I'm chasing, a Swatch watch.
Okay.
Turquoise bay. It's the blue, clear, see-through, gray ribbed wrist strap, and I'm looking for a mint one of those right now.
Let's go.
Just reminds me, I just like a month ago, I got the 90s Tag Link watch.
Oh,
classic.
dope. Yeah.
Yeah, with the real round curved edges, look kind of like the back of a turtle shell.
Yeah. You had to hunt that down, huh?
Yeah, I had to hunt that down. I wanted that when I was young. I couldn't afford it. I had a fake one.
Fake it till you make it.
Fake it, but I got a real one now. I got a real classic. So I've been on the watch. Some of those classic 90s watches is something that I'm appreciating right now.
I think that was the most specific answer I've ever gotten. That's so fire.
Okay.
Dante, thank you so much, man, for your time today, for being so generous with your time, but also for being such an inspiration and such a genuine dude, man. I told you this when I met you first, but Hook was such an important movie for my childhood. I speak on behalf of a generation, but Peter Pan was something I was obsessed with. And, my father and I would watch Hook together. We would play Hook, he would we would be the characters and we'd play in the living room. And so you really do hold a special place in my heart. It's really cool to say that you're a friend now, man. So thanks again.
I appreciate it, Tenn, man. Thank you for having me. I'm flattered. I'm glad I was, a little piece of the little there. The energy we was around the family. I love that. So till the next time, man.
And ladies and gentlemen, until next time, I'm all grown up.
Psych.
I'm all grown up. SYKE.